Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Cheerio Tech Talk session. So today my topic is about cross-browser compatibility testing. So let's see the content of my presentation. So it includes what is compatibility testing, types of compatibility testing, what is cross-browser compatibility testing, why is cross-browser compatibility testing is important, the common cross-browser compatibility issues, how to perform cross-browser compatibility testing, when and what to start the cross-browser compatibility testing, and finally the demo. So before talking about the exact topic, so I will tell you guys about some brief idea about some of the terms which is related to the cross-browser compatibility testing. So actually what is meant by compatibility means it's the ability of living and working together without any difference. So for example, so if we take, so here I have given our religion website. So if somebody is telling if it is compatible with all the browsers and platforms, then it should definitely open in all the browsers on any operating system. So then what is meant by compatibility testing? Actually it's a non-functional testing type, and we do it to determine whether our software application or the product is proficient enough to run in different browsers, operating systems, databases, hardware, different mobile devices, and network environments. So there are different types of compatibility testing. So I will go through these types of compatibility testing quickly. In hardware compatibility testing, we check the software needs to be compatible with different hardware configurations in operating systems. So we test on different operating systems like Windows, Mac, Linux, etc. In software compatibility testing, it checks that your developed software to be compatible with other softwares. For example, like Microsoft Word should be compatible with other softwares like Outlook, Excel, etc. So in network compatibility testing, what we do is we evaluate the performance of the system in a network with a variety of parameters like bandwidth, the operating system, and the capacity. So I will talk about the browser compatibility testing later because that's my topic. So in device compatibility testing, so what we do is we test the software with different devices like USB port devices, scanners, Bluetooth devices, etc. In mobile compatibility testing, so what we do is we compare the software with different mobile platforms like Android and iOS. Finally, the version compatibility testing. So we verify our software is compatible with different version of the software. Okay, so now my topic is comes into the picture. So I think from the above mentioned terms, I think you guys already know about what is cross-browser compatibility testing. The people who don't know might be able to get an idea about it. So simply, what is cross-browser compatibility testing? So what we do is we verify if an application works across different browsers as we expected. So the application should be compatible with different browsers. Why we need actually the cross-browser compatibility testing? So when it comes to a site or a web application, so it's very important to make sure it's fully functional and everybody visiting the site gets the good experience irrespective of the device or the browser that they are using. And also, even the name, the cross-browser testing implies you that its testing is only on multiple browsers, but in reality it's not only the browsers, but it should include the platforms, operating systems, devices as well. And also, each browser has its own language, and it sees the application or the website code differently. So as developers, so the developer's responsibility is to make sure that all the browsers interpret it similar to give a good experience to the end user. So I think in Red Engine, I think all the QA guys have this experience. So when we are testing some feature in one browser, and if we are testing it in another browser, sometimes the feature that feature might be broken, or it gives something else out. So my advice is, like, I have seen the developers are doing dev testing. So what they're doing is like, okay, default they do the dev testing in Chrome browser. But when we get the release to test, so when we are testing those things in the 4 major browsers, so sometimes we found some browser specific issues. So sometimes it will take some more time to resolve those issues, and there are some issues that we couldn't find a solution as well. So like, just suppose that some PBIs are there, so at the sprint we will be getting the release to test. So once the QAs are done their testing, and when we report that bug, so sometimes the developers don't have time to fix those browser specific issues, or sometimes it might take more time. So it's better if the developers, when they are doing developer testing, so it's better if they can test their code in some other more browsers as well. So sometimes at the end they have to change entire their code. So it's actually a time-consuming thing. So better if they can do their dev testing in different browsers as well. And also there are many browsers currently in the market. So with different multiple versions. So with every new version of the browser, it becomes very difficult to check the site or the web application with those versions. So for that, so in the industry, there are different cross-browser testing tools that we can use. Common cross-browser compatibility issues that we faced are, yes, exactly the changes in the UI, and the changes in the font sizes, the alignment related issues, changes in the CSS styling and the color, the scroll bar related issues, content or label overlapping, and finally the broken tables or the frames. So how we can perform the cross-browser testing? So there are actually 2 ways. One is manually we can perform the cross-browser testing. There what we do is we execute our test cases on each browser. So in this case, we have to identify the browsers that the application is supporting, and what we do is we rerun the same test case using different browsers across different and we observe the application's behavior and we report if there is any bug. The other way is the automated way. Simply what we can do is we can write the scripts and we can execute it on different browsers, or else we can use a cross-browser testing tool to do the cross-browser testing. And one thing that I want to mention is here, so in Red Engine, I don't know the other projects are doing this, so I have learned this from Sri Lanka actually. What we do is in Test Manager, there is an option called configuration. So I have practiced when I'm writing a test case, and if I wanted to test it in different browsers, what we do is we parameterize and we give the browser, the 4 major browsers. So and just suppose so I'm running that test case and I have to mark it as pass or fail. So just think that the functionality properly works in 3 browsers, and in one browser the functionality is not properly working. So at that time, so if I fail my test case, so but it's not good because the other 3 browsers the functionality is working properly. So with that configuration option, what we can do is, so once we write the test case, we can configure the browsers that we are going to test, and it will automatically generate 4 separate test cases. So that will help us to run those test cases differently. So, and we can mark the pass or fail status there. Actually, when we have to start this testing, the first option is as soon as possible. So it's good if we can start testing this when the single page is ready for testing. So this will actually increase the effort, but it will help to fix the errors as early as possible in the life cycle. And fixing those errors in this case is much more cost effective. And the second option is when the application is complete. I think we uses this option. So once entire functionality is done, so we start doing testing. So but fixing the errors won't be as cost effective as in the first option, but we can easily help to fix the errors before releasing the application to the final user. The third option is when the application is released. Actually, this is not a good practice, but it's better to do it rather not doing it and letting the end users to find out the issue. So after the application is released for the end user, what we can do is we can test and perform and we can fix those bugs as part of the change of the request of the application. So this is really costly and require multiple deployments depending on the bug fix. Actually, what to test is basically the basic functionality. So if we have a really big functionality, so as QA engineers, we have to definitely test this in 4 major browsers. And yes, the graphical user interface. So the look and feel of the application need to be same in each browser, and the response of the system. So how well the application respond to users' actions, and the performance, the loading of the page within the allowed given time frame. So if your application works well on one browser, that doesn't imply that your application is perfectly working with the other browsers as well. So this testing type will help you guys to identify the bugs and verify that your application runs on different browsers without any issue. So let's move on to the demo. So there are different cross-browser compatibility testing tools, and I have two other tools. So the name is also similar to the testing type. It's called cross-browser testing. So for my demo purpose, so I'm using the trial version of that, and it has different options. So for my presentation, I'm basically using the live test and the screenshot test, and also I'll show you guys the record and replay option as well. And in this tool, actually we can integrate the Selenium automation as well. So I'm not going to show it today. In live testing, actually what it gives is like we can manually test that, and it gives us different kind of browsers with multiple versions, and also the real-time devices as well. So here actually we can give whatever the site that you want to test, and also you can select whether it is a desktop one or a mobile. So for this version actually it's enable only those two devices, and so there is a list of mobile devices available. So in the desktop actually so those are the main operating systems that this version allow, and also there are different browsers with different versions, and we can select any responsive mode as well. So in this option actually the tool is not tracking any bots, so we can manually we have to do the testing. So I'll So there are a couple of options here. So if you need, you can get a snapshot, or you can video, or you can get this just a bit slow. So here actually you can switch the browser door if you want. on that device. Actually, what you can do is here, like you can test your application on different browsers or the different devices, and just suppose you have a bug defect in the login page. What you can do is you can take a screenshot, or you can video the steps that you have followed, and okay, so once we stop this. So yes, you can see this, and you can actually share this test results. So you can share this link, email, or you can share this one through Slack or Jira as well, and you can add some notes and tags as well. So actually in live testing you have to do it in manually, but the options that they have given is you can test that in different browsers with different versions and in different devices. So in screenshot testing is a little bit interesting. So here what they do is, so we'll give the retention URL, and you can select, so I select Windows 10, the Chrome, Firefox, IE, and Edge. So this will parallelly run all in all these browsers, and it will show you guys the layout if there's any layout issues. So you can see there are 6 screenshots, 6 running.
Take screenshots and compare.
Yes.
If there is a significant
difference, it will notify.
How is it when to take the screenshot? You just have to give the URL after the page loads.
Yeah. Still there's one running, so you can set like which one need to be set as the comparison browser. So you can see in here it shows there's a layout difference, and in this one, yeah, there's a 4 layout differences, 0. you go to this one, so it will load here. Yes. So it shows you what are the.
I think this is was meant to be done. I think you are not supposed to mix mobile browsers and desktop browsers and comparing Windows and Windows. So I think you are supposed to run Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and then compare among those three.
And
can you take it from meaningful one? There's another one, some differences. Like the first one.
This one, right? So this actually the Windows 10 Google Chrome, and this is in the Internet Explorer. Yes. We'll show the differences it has.
The screenshot comparison. Even if you don't fix it, it's fine.
So, and similarly, you can share those results. And so, I didn't go through this automation part actually. This is no Hiran. So I'll show this is actually trial version. So it gives me 100 minutes for manual testing and another 100 minutes for automation. So if we can so this is the yes, so one user can add 5 participants for this account. So if I created this account, so I can invite another 5 people. So, yes, right. In this one, actually, I had that same problem. In the screenshot testing, there's no way to go inside. So just we enter the, even though we enter the URL to, so we have to write like something automation things to go inside. And this one, another option that we can use is record and replay. So they are actually so we can record the steps that we follow. So you can see the steps are recording here. So there are 11 steps recorded, and what we can do is this is the one. So so here we can run this in yes, run it on different browsers. So you can see the steps. So you can see that all the steps get passed, and so if you can give, you can actually, so this option might be better if you are doing a like bulk regression testing kind of thing. Yes, so it has different features, so we can integrate these tools as well. And also there is another option called local connection. I think so locally also you can test the things after you configure those things. Yes, so we can add 5 user. Yes. That's about
We can produce output from this and send the result to these tools and get the past figure from these different services. Any features?
yeah.
Change.
Yeah. Yeah. So like just suppose that there's a UI change, so we will be running that recorded step thing. So it might fail that step, right? So then actually we have to manually, then we have identified that okay, this is not working. So then we have to, yeah. Yes, that's about the tool.